Dear Tunde, we are very glad that you have you here. So, the floor is yours. If you need me to stay here to help you. Η παρουσίαση θα γίνει στα αγγλικά. Το καταλάβατε αυτό. So, do you want me to help To help you? We can stand there.
Okay.
This. A second.
Okay. So,
If you need something, I'm here. No, you have to go there. Excuse me. You have to go here because of the video. Okay.
I have a show here. Yassos. Yes. That's about the only thing that I know in Greek. That's it. Okay. So my name is Tunde, and I have been invited by Barbara to do some keynote speech, if I understand that right, about presence. And you know, I am a person who takes everything very seriously. And when I heard that I'm supposed to be doing a keynote speech, I thought, like, what is a keynote speech? So I drew two pictures, like a key and some notes. Can everybody see that? Because I thought, like, how can I understand what a keynote speech could be here? And then I thought, well, of course I can, because I have the key. And the key is my piece of research that I'm currently conducting on coaching presence. And the notes is actually what we are going to do together and create. So, the idea is that before I speak about the research project and present a little bit of the results, I would like to invite you into some exercise. Let's practice presence and get a feeling for what it might be. So, I don't see myself as a keynote speaker to deliver a job here. I think that if you can have an experiential learning moment, that's more valuable than if I deliver a speech. So this is how I understand a keynote speech. Okay, guys. So is everybody okay with this, to do something together?
Yes.
Okay. If anybody chooses not to, feel free not to participate, okay? So there's no forces or constraints here. Okay, before we start though, let me invite you into some thought. Think of an impactful speaker you have already seen in your life. I guess that this is not your first time that you are at a presentation or at a conference or at an event.
No, you have to go there for the video, otherwise you cannot have for the whole speech.
I cannot be present. This is horrible. Okay. So think of someone that you have seen in your life who has made an impact on you in terms of a speaker. Hold this. Try to think like what impacted you about that speaker, because that will be relevant for later on. Okay? Good. So the exercise that I would like to do with you together is, let me just show you the instructions. Oh, we don't need. I will explain to you. So I would like to do this in standing, because my research project is about movement. It's not about speech. It's about movement, nonverbals. So I would like to invite you to stand up, everyone, please. Right. Okay. Okay, doke. Ready, steady, go. All right. So take just a few seconds to think into yourself. You don't need any knowledge about what we are going to do. And I hope that you trust me. So I'm not going to manipulate anyone, yeah? Ooh, I'm not going to do voodoo. So just try to figure out, like, how am I in this room in this building, in this city, with this lady from Austria, with all the people around here, having the purpose in mind. How are you, and what do you notice, what you sense in your body about how you are here? I'll give you a couple of seconds to listen and notice what your body says about how you are here. Good. Now turn to a person next to you that you don't know. Okay, I'm supposed to be here. This is horrible for a person who loves presents. Okay, so turn to a person, please. Don't take a person that you know well. This is not gonna work then, okay? Don't take too long. Make up your minds. Make it fast, okay? Everyone find someone, and if it takes turning, turn around. See someone in the row behind you. Okay, are we set to go? Yes. So everybody found a partner? Yes. Okay, so, and now, so the instruction is, of the top of your mind, or your head, whatever, please say 3 appreciative things about that person from the state where you are. About the other person. So the idea is, okay, I will repeat. Thank you very much. So,
can I translate it?
yes, okay. Okay.
Θα προσπαθήσετε να σκεφτείτε 3 θετικά πράγματα να του πείτε.
Yes. Can I ask the Yes. Can I ask the
I cannot use this.
Yes. Can I ask the Hello? Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Whether or not you're done doesn't matter, okay? Now take turns, please, take turns. And now the other person who was listening will now say something about how that impacted him or her, what was being told to him or her.
Τώρα ρωτήστε τον άλλον πώς του φάνηκε που του είπατε αυτά τα 3 θετικά. No there, no there, no there, excuse me. Not there.
Thank you very much. You may have a seat, please. Please have a seat. Yes, good. Okay. So I will take 5 comments and responses. Who would like to share what happened for him or her? 5 comments and responses from the audience. Okay. 1. Yes.
My name is Manya, and I'm studying to become a coach. Well, when you asked us how we feel in this room, in this space, I felt calm, grateful, and happy. And when this lady told me her opinion about me, it was exactly that. She told me that I'm calm and I'm happy. And I started crying, of course, because I'm crying.
Thank you very much. Somebody here wanted to say something.
With 2 ladies. I have 2 partners. One lady is a politician.
I always have a luxury moment, right?
One is a politician and the other one is from the business unit. And we spoke that we are here, we are happy, and we have the possibility to upgrade our knowledge and our esteems, and anyhow to upgrade all our thinking and to participate in this meeting, which it's going to be, I think, a very prosperous and very good one.
Courageous enough here to be present.
Yeah, okay. So the way I would say the other person, I could see the other person starting to smile and opening up and being very, very friendly after the 3 statements.
4 and 5. Come on, guys. Must be possible. Doesn't matter? Oh, yes. We engage.
At first, I also felt very grateful about being here. That was when you said to focus on ourselves. And then when I heard the nice things that this guy next to me told to me, I felt very proud of myself and very nice about myself. So grateful again. Thank you.
But not least. Okay, so what I would like to do is tell you so this exercise was actually part of the program that we are developing on the basis of my piece of research. And this is in collaboration with Samir Hassan, who is also an MCC with ICF. And he is very well versed in martial arts, and he has the how, and I've got the what with the piece of research. So we paired up to create a program and to develop something around presence. And this became Integrative Presence. And we like saying that we try to debunk. Okay. Oh, yeah, I know. So that we would like to debunk the myth and the realities around coaching presence. When I started doing my piece of research, I found out that we do not really know anything about coaching presence. There are a lot of concepts and ideas out there, but we don't really have evidence. We don't have scientific evidence. So we have understanding. We know that it's important. We know that it's about this and that and a couple of things. So we understand the elements of it. But we don't really know or understand like what makes it work and what is the impact on the client. So that was the myth around which I started working. And what we came up with is that on the basis of the research is that there are many, many levels that matter when it comes to presence and what is important for clients. It's the I. And this is that was one part of the exercise about. How am I in my body? How am I? What is my mood right now? How do I arrive? I might have had a very difficult conversation just before I arrived. So I might be impacted by that and might not be able to follow the presentations the way I could if I hadn't had that particular conversation, potentially. So one element of presence that we found is the I, but not from a verbal point of view like what we speak, but from a different source of intelligence, the body. The second level that we found, and then we integrated, is the we, like how we together. And how do I impact someone else by just how I am, by the I. And there was, like you shared a couple of things that like, how I feel will be seen, how I am in my body, because I carry energy with me around. My body is not just a skeleton that carries the head around. We have got energy, and I'm sure that you can feel also my energy, and I can feel yours. And this is always impacting us in certain ways. And becoming aware of this is what matters when we want to create growth, personal support, or anything in this direction. And as Anastasia was saying today, and I'm very, very happy when I was listening to my interpreter, thank you very much. She's sitting at the back and she's helping me understand what the presentations are about today, is that we have an environment. So you might be feeling in this room differently than in a different room. And you might feel the instructions or receive the instructions differently from somebody else. If I were an I, probably you would have listened differently, potentially. If you were in a different country, that might also impact. I feel impacted here. So this is not my home base. It's not my home turf. So I'm different probably from what I would be at home. So we found that what matters is not just like the coach per se, but also the client. So presence is not a one-way street. We coaches are also impacted by how our clients show up and arrive in the coaching room. And how much are we aware how their state of mind and how their emotional state impacts us, how we can support them. And it also matters like which rooms they are in and where they meet each other, and even the bigger cosmos. So this is what integrative presence is about, the way we understand it based on the piece of research that I have conducted. Now, what I would like to show you is a little bit of results of the piece of research. Explain the research, and then show you some results. We are not done with the final analysis. I will be presenting it on 18 October in Boston this year. But we already have got some preliminary results, which I would like to share with you because Barbara's coaches participated in this research. And that's why I'm here, so thank you guys for that, yeah? Okay, so that was the exercise about at that. So, to be able to measure energy, how do we do that? That was my first challenge. So I found a software, we are using technology, developed at Bern University in Switzerland by Fabian Ramsayer and Wolfgang Tschacher, was developed in 2008, and it's called Motion Energy Analysis. So what happens is that we needed to create videos. So all the coaches who were invited into this project with their clients had to undergo this, had to be willing to have their sessions videotaped. But not for the speech, but just for their movements. So this software cannot process audio material. It can only process video material. So what you can see here is that I have to mark the body parts, heads, upper torso, and then the leg parts for each participant. And then the software will start running and will measure frame-to-frame changes of pixels. Okay. So I wanted to show you how this works actually, because we are not even watching the video. So I'm basically don't even know who is in the video, because the videos are automatically transformed into grayscale images. So you would be able to see it here, but technologically we cannot run it today. So, but you can see already here that there is some white lines, which indicates a movement. Okay. Now what we are looking into is the spontaneous responsiveness between the two people. We are not looking at movement in terms of imitation. So when you nod your head, I would also be nodding my head in turn. This is not what presence is about according to our understanding. This is about noticing and becoming aware what somebody else might potentially need in a particular moment. So meeting the client's needs in a particular moment. And being courageous enough, flexible enough to see like, okay, so how am I with this? And then share it with the client if it's appropriate, but in any case to respond. Now, presence for us is also about the synchrony. So we call it actually in our jargon, nonverbal synchrony. And synchrony implies that the responses occur within a certain time frame. So any movement that comes back after 6 seconds is way too long. It's not synchronous, so it's not present. The clients will not notice it. Will notice it, but it might be too late. So why do we need presence? We need presence because my curiosity was to look into emotions. Like, if we are not responding to somebody else's need, how will that emotionally impact the clients? How will they feel safe or not? This is called self-regulation. In mindfulness psychology, there's a lot about definitions of self-regulation. I don't have it here because I don't have much time. So I can just tell you that we wanted to see like how, if there is synchronous responsiveness between coach and client, how will that impact the client's level of safety, feeling safe in a moment? Okay. So what we found is, and I'm just showing you one case. What you can see here is this black line and the blue line. So how to determine that there is synchrony, and it's not just any random synchrony, you know, that two people are moving and there's something happening. So how can we really determine scientifically and reliably that synchrony is synchrony and not just a random movement that happened? So what we did is, so this is a coach-client pair, and we assigned that particular coach-client pair to other pairs randomly. And the idea is that if the responsiveness between that particular pair is higher than the random matches, then that's what we call synchrony. Does it make sense to you what I'm saying? So this is a level of making sure that we are not just thinking that a movement is synchrony and so, yeah? So we match this particular pair randomly with other pairs. And the black line is the random synchrony level. And anything that is beyond, or it's above, means that there is true synchrony. And ideally, what should happen is sort of a bell curve. I'm not sure if you're familiar, this is a research jargon. Something like this should happen, and it's happening. So what does it mean? You can see, like 0 means that the two people were simultaneously responding to each other. Here we have got one part and the other part, and this part is measuring to what extent is the coach leading, because the coach can lead with movements, but also the clients lead, because according to the ICF definition, it's dancing in the moment. It's not a one-way street. And we can measure it, and we can see that sometimes it's the clients who lead the coach. Why not? As long as it's a dance and there is a level of safeties for both, it's ideal. So do you have a question about this slide? Does it make sense to you? Okay. So this is how we measure synchrony. Then we took 10 cases. And we have got, actually, I didn't say that, 192 coach-client pairs in the process, which is very much. Ideally, I was wishing to have 150. And we exceeded this, and we have got 192, and I'm very, very happy about this because we can create statistical relevance. So, and this is owing to you coaches because you participated. So without you, I wouldn't be standing here talking about this thing here. So now we want to see, like, okay, we understand that synchrony and how we measure synchrony, but that's not enough. So we need to understand what is the impact of synchrony on how the other person feels safe. And what you can see here is a scatter plot. It's a regression analysis. And anything that is potentially a straight line, so you can see the dots here for each coach-client pair over 10 sessions. Yeah, because actually we invited the coaches not just into one session, but into a series of sessions, ideally 10 sessions over time, 6 months. So, and what we can see here, we could actually draw a line, and if it were a line, it would mean that it has got a direct relationship, like synchrony has a direct impact, effect on self-regulation. And this is just 10 cases. So I'm very curious about the 192. Yeah, do you have a question about this? I can't be very detailed because I can see that Barbara is already like, how much time do I have? 7 minutes. Yes, okay. So any questions? No. Too bad, guys. Okay, so, and then finally figures, because that's what counts. Oh, somebody has got a question, please. Oh, okay, good. So what we're interested in is what we call Pearson correlation. Anybody ever heard of this? Okay. So Pearson correlation matches two variables. For example, if one variable increases, the other will also increase. That's positive correlation. We also have negative correlation, which means that one variable increases and the other decreases. Then we have a negative correlation. And as you can see here, we have got a negative sign here, right? Which is good, because we don't want positive correlation, we want negative, because we are measuring the time lags. And the shorter the time lags, the more negative the time lags, the shorter the lag between two responses, the better for us, because that means actually this peak in the bell curve. So self-regulation increases when the lags decrease. Now look at this number. Anything that is beyond 0.7 is excellent, is relevant. So for these 10 cases, we can see that there is, as far as we can measure it, okay, we have got always points to criticize. We are happy to say that, interestingly, okay, there is statistically relevant correlation between presence and self-regulation as measured by non-verbals. Just imagine we took and added the verbals, because we are just looking at what the body is speaking. We haven't looked into what the conversations mean, because I'm not allowed to, because ethically I committed myself to not listen into the audio material, and I cannot either. So, and on the basis of this, we created a model, an integrative model. And the idea is that, as you could see, that sometimes it's the clients who are leading. So we need to also take into consideration like how the clients feel. So it's not enough to look always and keep the focus on the coach. The coach is okay, it's important, but the client is equally important. And what is also important is the rest, the environment, as Anastasia was saying today. So it's something that's a condition that matters a lot when it comes to feeling safe or being able to share, or, I don't know, ICF is defining coaching presence as the flexibility and the courage to share openly any given moment. When you really think into this, can you really courageously share what's going on for you? I invited you to share what was going on for you today. It's not easy. Just imagine we are in a coaching session, and why should a client trust us? Because I'm a coach? Why? So how difficult it is for the clients to share what's going on for them. Why should they trust the coach? Because of the many certificates? Come on. It's very, very difficult to really courageously and openly and flexibly share what's going on for us. But it's important. So we are taking this into consideration in our integrative presence model. Now I wanted to show you what we understand by this, by visualizing it. So this is what we call the cosmic echo of self, which implies that we are not alone and we are impacted by everything, by the other, by ourselves, and by the rest, by actually the entire cosmos. And this is supposed to pivot, and turn and show like sort of a galaxy. But unfortunately. No, that's fine. Okay, some takeaway for you guys. Something that you can start practicing right now in the next session, or even when being with each other. We call this aspect of presence the use of self, the I sphere. So start asking yourself a couple of questions, the way we did today. What is my visceral urge? What's going on for me in my stomach? Do I feel tense here, or does my head ache, or my feet because I'm wearing high heels? What is going on for me in the moment? How am I here, given the circumstances that I chose to be here? And how confidently can I share it when it's necessary? Just a quick story. I had a client who lived in a very calm space in the forest, and I was having a session, and the client reached a stage where she was reflecting her action taking. And we were sitting there quietly, and she was taking her time to think and think and think what she should do next. because she apparently took away something for herself. Suddenly outside there was a cockerel, and it was 12 o'clock, and started doing like kikiriki stuff, okay? And I thought, that's funny. And I started laughing. And the client looked at me and said, Tunde, thank you for laughing right now. And I said, what's that about? And she said, you know, I wanted also to laugh, but I didn't feel like confidently sharing. I didn't feel like I can, in a serene moment like this, I cannot laugh because I'm thinking, reflecting very hard what to do next. And thank you for laughing, because you know what? Actually, I should also do something crazy like this cockerel. So by me just listening to what was going on for me, sharing it confidently with the client, helped her to realize, hey, maybe I should do that. So this is how the impact that it can have when we share confidently. Question that you can ask is, what do I notice is going on for my client? How they are sitting there, moving around. Because that helps us to respond to their needs in the moment. And how will I notice my client feels really understood? How do you know that they feel understood? Just because they say, yes, I feel understood? And last but not least, how will my clients notice that I feel safe? Because that enables them to feel safe. So this is something that finally I wanted to give you in terms of a takeaway. Thank you very much for your listening, guys.